So, I know you guys are thinking watching this, whoa, did this guy really make a video for us to explain the world this campaign is going to be taking place in? That's crazy. I mean, Trevor must be a really god tier DM. I mean, seriously, who puts in this much work before the campaign even starts? I mean, jeez, he really is that great. And let me tell you, friends, you are absolutely correct. However, before I explain the world and get super in depth, let me give you a rundown of what my general vision for this campaign is, and what you can expect from me as a DM and the world as a whole. One thing that I hate whenever I'm a player is being railroaded. I hate feeling like no matter what choice I make, no matter what I do, the overall outcome is going to be the same. It limits me creatively and ruins both my fun and immersion. In the first campaign I ran for you all, I tried to avoid forcing you into situations as much as I could, but I still did a little bit by having the gods in that world personally send you on quests. In this new world that I'm making, and the campaign that I'm running for you all, I want to crank player freedom up to max. I intend for it to be more that you all are adventuring and exploring the vast world, collecting magic items, slaying monsters, and making stories and eventually legends along the way. I will have a villain that will be affecting how things work in the world, however, it will be entirely up to you all how involved, if at all, you become with the main conflict. I want this campaign to really be run by you all, and so there will be a big bad evil guy, and they will be affecting the world in different ways. But this campaign is set up where you can have just as much fun whether you decide to try and take on the main evil threat, or if you decide to ignore it all for adventuring and questing. This may be hard to visualize how you can navigate the campaign in a way that completely ignores the BBEG, but once you hear how the world's set up and how you guys are going to be starting, I think you'll understand a little bit better. For now, I just really want to get across to you that this campaign is meant to be entirely shaped by you all, and I, as the DM, am simply here to facilitate the story that you all want to tell. Another point of my DMing style that you guys can expect to see is that I think player fun comes above all. I think it's my job to ensure that you guys have as much fun as possible and that your fun comes before any rule that I make. So, this means that I'm very generous with magic items, I'm very generous with giving you all strong abilities, and I'm very generous with just how I rule in general. In my opinion, the more abilities you have at your disposal through magic items, abilities, spells, and everything else, the more fun, creative, and crazy ways you have to tackle any problem that I throw at you. This is the same reason that I tell you all to take full health. If you have max health, you can fight stronger and more epic monsters. I mean, yes, it's fun to go and fight a small goblin camp and have it be a close fight where you all almost die, but it is much more fun to go have a fight with a massive dragon turtle or a kraken using really cool abilities and magic items. All in all, my DMing style is to be extremely generous with abilities, magic items, and rulings, because I believe above all that if you leave the session thinking, dang, that was really fun, then I did my job, and I think that's what my DMing style does best. Now, the last little bit of logistics to take care of before this video really gets going is that I'm going to be covering a metric butt ton of stuff in this video. So, if you want to reference any of this stuff when making your character or preparing for the campaign in whatever way you do so, I'll be leaving time codes right here to all the different stuff I'm going to be talking about in this video. Alright, you got it? Good? Cool. Okay. Alright, now that that's out of the way, I'd like to introduce you all to the world of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is a high fantasy world filled with all manner of different races, animals, monsters, and everything in between. The civilizations of today are built in the aftermath of a world long forgotten to time, and remnants and relics of that forgotten past can be found throughout every corner of Yggdrasil. In this world, magic flows throughout the land in the form of rus, and is believed to be a gift left by the ancient gods of the past. This rus is a life force that flows throughout the world and connects every living thing. Because of this, all living things are able to interact with rus, and for some, this connection manifests itself in the form of gifts. Gifts are special and often unique abilities that manifest the mortals of all different races and grant the individuals some power or ability. Think of them like quirks from My Hero if you've watched it. These gifts manifest themselves at birth and are special powers that stick with the individual until the day they die. For some, these gifts are something minor, and for others, they can help them achieve great fame and power. But for all, these gifts are a result of rus and the mortal's connection with it. The lands of Yggdrasil contain many different cities, settlements, and kingdoms. However, a large portion of the world is still undiscovered and unknown. These parts of the world are believed to be where the ancient civilizations of old were established. Some stay unexplored because of distance, some are said to be guarded by powerful beings or monsters. However, for any brave enough to venture to them, and strong or lucky enough to come back alive, they hold many different treasures and relics that keep adventurers interested enough to venture into them time and time again. As I said before, the magic in this world is called rus, and by an unexplained special connection with it, some individuals are born with gifts. However, while gifts are a connection with Roost, they're not the only thing that can be done with it. Through training and studying, mortals can call upon and manipulate their own Roosts to cause all different kinds of phenomena to occur. These phenomena caused by Roosts are spells, and the more Roosts you can command, the higher tier spells you're able to cast. Not only this, but individuals in this world have also been known to use Roosts to create and find different magic items as well. Some truly talented individuals have learned to manipulate not just their own Roosts, but the Roosts of the world as well. By doing this, they have been able to cast spells at lower tiers instantaneously and without any issue, and they've also been known to cast things called world tier magic. This kind of world tier magic is only accessible to those who have both traveled the world extensively and experienced all the Roosts the world has, and by doing so, gained a mastery over their own. Now, as I said at the beginning, Yggdrasil is a very high magic world. This means that magic casters and spells are extremely common. Moreover, magic and spells are used nearly in every facet of everyday life. However, even though magic is extremely common, most people only know first or second level spells. Third and fourth level spells are known only to those that have true strength, and 5th level and above are extremely rare to find, and usually only court mages or super high tier adventurers would know these kinds of magics. But, even though higher tier spells and magic are extremely limited, lower tier magic is extremely common, and scrolls that contain lower tier magic spells are used in everyday life. These spell scrolls are a one-time use version of a spell that can be used by any class. You'll usually see adventuring parties stock up on them before going out and adventuring, or you could even see a construction worker going and buying a floating disc spell to help them move around heavy objects. Additionally, magic shops will also have a healthy stock of common and rare magic items. However, anything above that will be a bit more difficult to find and usually will require going out and adventuring to find something like that. The world of Yggdrasil is one massive continent with various surrounding islands, within which many different diverse and fantastical biomes exist. From enchanted forests to rolling plains, all the way to scorching deserts and barren wastelands, Yggdrasil is covered in many different biomes to explore. In and throughout these lands, there is no shortage of wildlife. You can expect to see many creatures from our own world, as well as a long list of fantasy and magic creatures as well. In Yggdrasil, there are 4 different kingdoms that rule over the lands, and within them, their respective rulers have separate laws and customs. Now, while the 4 great kingdoms rule over most of the land, there are some cities and civilizations in or around the desert of Ra, for example, that are their own independent territories. Alright, now I'm going to go a bit more in depth about each of the 4 great kingdoms and give you all information that all your characters would know just from existing in the world. The Riestes kingdom is a massive kingdom located in the westernmost point of Yggdrasil. Riestes is ruled by King Jerkniv Rune-Farin, a young faunus man with short white hair, 2 fox ears on the top of his head, and a foxtail that comes out from his backside. Also, faunus is a new race that I'm making for this campaign. They're basically a race of people that have some sort of animal characteristic to them. Some might have a tail, some could have cat ears, some could have ram horns. The gist is just they're humanoid creatures that look basically like humans that have some animal characteristic to them. And you guys can play these if you want to. If you want to play a faunus, just let me know and I'll work out the details with you. Due to the incredible leadership of Jerkniv, the kingdom is incredibly prosperous. He has many cities and territories under his command, and all of them are incredibly safe and successful. Because of the success of his kingdom, many people and races from all over the world have flocked to join his nation. Due to this massive influx of people, the capital city of Magnolia is a huge metropolis filled with nearly every race of creature that exists. Most people in Magnolia live very prosperous and happy lives, though, as is the case in any metropolis, there are certain areas that are a bit more rough to live in. There are whispers that within the slums of Magnolia, near the ports, there's a large-scale criminal organization that's gaining more and more power. Though, as far as Jerkniv claims, these whispers are just rumors spread by other countries to try and undermine his rule. Baharuth is a kingdom located at the southernmost part of the settled side of Yggdrasil. This kingdom is ruled by a council of 5 individuals, rather than a king or a queen. This council is aptly named the Council of 5. This council is made up of both men and women, and any race is allowed to be on it. Their only rules is that to be on the council, you must be voted in by a majority of the citizens of Baharuth. No one member can serve the council for more than 1 term, and each of the 5 members must all be of a different race. The council members serve a term of 10 years each, and when they're done, a new member is elected in a massive election held in Baharuth. The Baharuth kingdom is a considerable amount smaller than the Riestes kingdom, Because of this, there's not quite as much of a diverse spread of races. Their kingdom is mostly made up of elves, faunus, dwarves, and humans. The capital city of Baharuth is called Erbraxis, and this is where the Council of Five lives, and where most of the inhabitants of Baharuth do as well. The exception to this is that a large number of dwarves live in the mountain ranges outside of the capital city, and you can expect to see lots of them and hill trolls out there as well. The kingdom of Yggdrasil is located in the northernmost part of the settled side of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is ruled by Queen Tiamat Dragneel. Tiamat is a beautiful woman with long black flowing hair, 2 pointy ears, and 2 large dragon horns protruding upwards from her head. Tiamat is a dragon soul, believed to be a descendant from one of the great ancient races, and is a ridiculously strong pyromancer, capable of casting even world tier magic with ease. Also, a dragon soul is another race in my campaign that I'm homebrewing. Dragon souls are people that were descended from the ancient culture of dragon slayers, a culture that used to kill dragons and then use ancient magic to take the roost of the dragon and mix it with their own. By doing so, the dragon slayers developed characteristics of the dragons they killed. Then, through many generations, these characteristics stuck with them and their cultures, and now their children have inherited these characteristics as well. And just like the Faunist, if you guys want to play this race, just let me know and I'll work out the details with you guys later. The kingdom of Yggdrasil's capital city is called Draconis, and as the name suggests, this city is full of dragonborns, kobolds, and dragon souls. The inhabitants of Yggdrasil live prosperous lives for the most part, and they're usually pretty happy, as their queen Tiamat is wise and powerful. Tiamat, however, is extremely racist towards anyone who's not either a dragonborn, dragon soul, or kobold. This makes travel to and from Yggdrasil very dangerous, and in some cases nearly impossible. The only exception to this rule are adventurers, since licensed adventurers are welcome into any city without question. It has been rumored by some that Queen Tiamat has wyverns under her control, but these rumors are pretty hard to substantiate since most people are never allowed to see her or her throne room in person. The Slain Theocracy is a rather strange place. They are home to the Church of Ares, a religion that worships the goddess Ares and believes it's their job to bring true joy and peace to the world. Because they see themselves as one big church, they refuse to call themselves a kingdom, and instead of a king, they're led by the High Priest Xanathar, a tabaxi male with the fur pattern of a snow leopard. Now, while Xanathar is the High Priest and is officially the one in charge, the one who truly calls the shots is someone known only as the Shepherd. The age, race, and gender of the Shepherd is known only to those who are a part of the Slain Theocracy. However, other nations reason that whoever it is must be extremely powerful, since the Slain Theocracy is consistently having to ward off attacks from the Dark Continent. Even though the Slain Theocracy does not call themselves a kingdom, the other nations don't quite see it that way, and are skeptical of the church's true intentions and motives. Adventuring guilds are extremely popular and globally recognized organizations that serve as a centralized place for both adventuring parties to receive and accept requests, as well as for clients to post quests for adventurers to accept. There's one adventuring guild in every major city, and even though these guilds may be in different cities, they all follow the same rules and guidelines. The guild system is the only system that is globally recognized and agreed upon, and the adventuring guilds and their rules have a full backing of every single world leader. So, at this point I've covered everything I wanted to tell you guys about the world of Yggdrasil. Obviously there are many different details that I did not cover, but these are things you all will have to discover and explore for yourselves in the campaign. However, all the information that I gave you in this video is stuff that's considered general knowledge. This is the kind of stuff that you would learn like in your history classes or your parents would teach you as they're homeschooling you. So you can consider all of this knowledge stuff that your characters would know. Now, there is more miscellaneous stuff that I want to cover and go over, like different game rules or little details about the world. And so I'm just going to put them here because I don't really know where else to fit them in. So, alright, the rest of this video is just going to be like miscellaneous stuff, and here we go. So, firstly, and probably most importantly, this campaign is going to start with you all heading into the Riestes Kingdom to register yourselves as an official adventuring party. This means that before the campaign starts, I need you all to have worked out the reason that you are looking to form an adventuring party with each other. Your backgrounds, your ages, your abilities, they can be whatever you want them to be. All of you or some of you could be good friends, or you could all be perfect strangers that met in a bar one day and decided to party up. You could want to become an adventurer because you want money, you could do it because you want to save people, you could do it because Cthulhu himself peered into your mind and told you to do so and join the group. The motivations your characters have to be adventurers can be whatever you want, so long as it ends up with you forming the party. I want you guys to come up with crazy, fun, unique character ideas that you all love, but keep in mind that when making your character, the only thing that I'm requiring you to do is that your character has to have some reason that they want to be a part of this adventuring group. In this campaign, any race, any class, and any abilities are allowed. You all know I love homebrew, so if you want to make up some abilities for yourselves, be my guest. I will review your characters before the start of the campaign, obviously, and if I think that anything needs to be balanced, then I'll let you know, but I'm pretty generous when it comes to the homebrew stuff, so as long as it's not something like outrageous, you should be fine. Also, this does mean that any alignment is allowed, and yes, that does mean that if you desire, you could play a chaotic evil character. I only ask that if you're going to play a chaotic evil character, roleplay the evil in a way that doesn't ruin things for everyone else. Being murder hobos is totally fine as long as everyone is on board with you guys slaughtering everyone you come across. You know we're all here to have fun, and so as long as your chaotic evil character doesn't ruin the fun for everyone else, be my guest. Now, you guys know, as I've mentioned multiple times throughout this video, that I'm generous with magic items and abilities. However, the one thing that I'm banning is Sentinel and Polearm Master. If you don't know what this is, then don't even worry about it. But if you do, I'm just saying right now up front, it's banned. You can take one or the other, and honestly, if you wanted to take them both, you could, and I'll just make some special rule to like make the synergy between them not broken. But this just makes it to where if I do it written by the book and you take Sentinel and Polearm Master, I just literally can't even balance the encounter after that. And so that's just one thing I'm hard banning out front. I'm sorry. I probably should have led with this, but you guys are going to be starting this campaign at level 4. Now, why level 4, you may ask? Well, starting at level 1, in my opinion, is just stupid. It makes you super weak, and D&D is no fun when you're so weak you can't even kill a housefly. Level 2 is stupid for the same reason as level 1. Level 3 is what I consider starting you at, but in case any of you guys are going to be multi-classing, level 3 is just like a weird spot in general for most multi-class pairings. Level 5, I'm not going to start you there because for D&D classes, level 5 is where you hit your power spike, so we're left with level 4. That's where we're starting. So you guys are going to be using standard array for this campaign for your abilities. If you don't know what this is, just let me know, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys do. But yeah, just standard array just seems the easiest, most balanced to me. That's what we're doing. Boom. Spell materials. I cannot fathom why anyone would ever think that spell materials are fun. At best, it's just a tedious and monotonous shopping trip for me to go buy all the materials I need, and at worst, I can't cast a fucking spell because I don't have a hill goblin's left pinky toe. Spell materials to me as a player are just no fun, and usually they actively make me have a bad time because I can't cast my spells. So I'm not going to be requiring you to use spell materials. Now, there are 2 exceptions to this, however. The first exception is if the spell explicitly says in the wording of the spell that you use a material, then you use that material. So for instance, the spell Summon Greater Demon. If you're summoning the Greater Demon, you can use someone's blood to draw a circle around yourself and the demon can't enter it. Then for that spell, then yeah, you need to use the blood to draw a circle. Okay, got it. We get that. The other exception to this are ritual spells, so like the Find Familiar spell, you will need to use and consume the materials for that one just because most ritual spells are pretty legitimately broken if you don't use the materials. But for like the 90% of spells that don't fall under those categories, please ignore the physical components for the spells. They're stupid and I hate them. Okay, piggybacking off the last point, you still will have to use the verbal and somatic components of your spells. However, for spells that are cantrips, first level and second level, the verbal components and somatic components, they can be really under the table and really sneaky how you do them. Like you can whisper for your verbal component, and your semantic only needs to be little gang signs under the table. For third, fourth, and fifth level, you have to say it at a normal talking volume, but the somatic stuff can still be the same, just gang signs under the table. And for 6th level and higher, you basically have to be waving your arms like a conductor and screaming your spell's name. So everyone's going to know you're casting a spell of that level or higher. That's what we're going to be doing for this campaign. This one's pretty straightforward. You all get max health. This lets player roles like tanks, backlines, and midlines stand out a lot better, and just makes it so a goblin camp isn't a potentially deadly encounter for a level 5 party. Rolling for health's gay, just take full health. You got it. Boom. Quick note, I guess, we are going to be keeping track of food and water, but I'm not going to be anal about it. I mean, if you go into town for multiple weeks and you never mention once that you go into a tavern and get food, then yeah, sure, I'll bring it up. But I'm not gonna make you roleplay every single time you go take a drink of water or go eat and then go to the bathroom. It's just, I'm not gonna be anal about it, but it'll be there mostly just for flavor. You guys got it. It'll be like the first campaign I roleplayed for you all, so that's fine. Okay, so here's one thing I'm going to be changing from my first campaign. I guess 2 of you won't really know what my first campaign was, but anyway, here we go. So when it comes to combat, I'm going to be super lax when it comes to table talk. I tried to do the whole thing in the other campaign where I'd only let you guys talk in proximity where your characters are. So like if 2 player characters are on one side of the wall and 1 character's on the other, then like the 2 couldn't talk to the 1 because of the wall that separates your actual characters. But I think it's a lot more fun to let you guys discuss strategy at the table and then enact that strategy on the battle map. I think that kind of teamwork is really what makes D&D combat fun, so I don't want to stop you from strategizing at the table. In certain situations, I may limit the table talk time if it's like a high stakes situation or something like that, but it'll be very rare if I do it, and then when I do, I think it'll be a general agreement with the table that that's what makes it most fun in that situation. So this one's pretty important to keep in mind as you guys are making your characters. If you're making your characters and there's some concept that you really like, but I didn't say it was in the world, just let me know. For instance, if you want to have a wizard that studied at a prestigious magic school in some certain city that I laid out in the map, but I didn't say there's a magic school in that city, just let me know and I will put a prestigious magic school in that city for you. Like I said, the whole point is for you guys to have fun, and so if you have a character idea you really want to have in the world, just let me know and I'll make it happen. Okay, so I'm leaving this one up to you guys. Let me know if you want to do just gold for currency or if you want to do the whole Ethereum, gold, silver, and bronze. I kind of like doing just gold because then it's easier and we don't have to do math for conversions whenever you buy stuff. But it's one of those things where it's not that tedious to do and it's not like super inconvenient if you want to have multiple currencies. So if you think it adds enough flavor, I'm totally fine with doing it. Just let me know and we'll go either way based on what you guys say. So earlier when I was talking about magic, I mentioned world tier spells as a thing that I'm homebrewing for casters. And this is putting it into game mechanics for you. If you're a caster, once you hit level 10, I'm going to give you what's called a world tier spell. This kind of spell does not take a spell slot to cast, and you can think of it more as like a class feature with an extremely high cooldown. These spells are going to be ones that are meant to alter the course of a battle, and will take multiple rounds to cast. At the beginning of the casting, a large magic aura springs forth from the caster, and their eyes glow a pale blue as you cast the spell. If at any point during the spell casting you take damage, you will immediately be knocked out of the channeling and you'll have to start all over again. So take for instance the world tier spell Fallen Down. This spell takes 4 turns total to cast. If you successfully get off Fallen Down, it inflicts 20 d10 plus 30 force damage onto a target of your choice, leaving behind a massive crater in its wake. See, these spells are incredibly strong, and all magic casters from the classes of Wizard, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Cleric will all be granted one of these spells once you hit level 10. These spells are meant to be used very strategically, since you can't very well just sit there for 4 turns in most combat and not get hit. You'll need to plan out your defenses, get your spells working together, and use lots of teamwork to be able to get them off. But even though they're super hard to get off, if you can do one, they're more than worth the strategy and effort put into it. And lastly, all these rules are set up in a way that I believe will bring you all the maximum amount of fun in the campaign. However, I'm the DM and I'm not the players. So if there are any rules that you heard that you collectively think are whack and you don't want to play with them, just let me know and I'll change it, just like that. Like for instance, spell components. I think they're really stupid and no fun, but if you all collectively really want to use spell materials, tell me and I'll implement them into the game. Like I said, this is meant for you guys' fun, and your fun's most important to me. So anything you want, I'll add or take away, just let me know. Alright, well, that is going to do it for this little introductory video for the world of Yggdrasil. I hope you guys are excited for the campaign, because I know I'm definitely excited to get back to DMing. Like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. We're doing multiple session 0, so like there's going to be plenty of time for you to talk to me and ask me any questions you have. I don't really know like a non-cringy way of outroing this video properly, so bye.